Hello everyone, so welcome back to C++ programming tutorial 4. Now, in our previous episode, we spoke about pointers, arrays, and referencing. Now, in today's video, we are going to be taking statements as well as expressions in C++ programming. So without wasting much time, let's begin. Okay, so back to our IDE. So what are expressions in C++? So an expression in C++ is a combination of one or more operands and zero or more operands that the compiler evaluates to produce a single value. Now every expression has a type and it results in a value. Now we have types of expressions in C++. Now the first and most common one are the arithmetic expressions. Now these involve arithmetic operators and numerical operands evaluating to numerical value. So now we all know that 10 plus 5 is equal to 15, and this is a simple arithmetic operation we have here. Now we also have x by y. This evaluates to the product of x and y. We have relational expressions as well. Now relational expressions, these are relational operators to compare two operands, evaluating a boolean value which is true or false. Now this is where booleans are usually used when it comes to this form of expression. So we can have something like a is less than b, and this is a sample of a relational expression. Now this is only true if a is less than b and false otherwise. Now in other words, true can be either 1 or false becoming 0. So you can take that as well. You can have something like x is greater or equal to let's say 100, and now this is only true if x is greater than or equal to 100. Then you print out a 1, or let me say a true statement. So yeah, we also have logical expressions. Now these combine boolean expressions using logical operators evaluating true or false. So now when it comes to the logical operators, we can have something like the ampersand operator used twice, which will have its own meaning. We'll get to that as we proceed. We have this over here as well. We have this as well, which is the or, and it has its own use. We'll get to use it as we proceed. So we can bring all these expressions together in one single line to give you a code to be used in making a form of calculation or whatever it is that you are programming. Now we also have conditional expressions. They are also known as ternary expression. Now these use the ternary operator, which is the question mark or the colon, to evaluate the condition and return one or two values. Yes. We also have the assignment operator. Now that these assign a value to a variable, and the expression itself evaluates to the value being assigned. Now popular one is the equal to sign, which we have here as our assignment operator. So that's the basic one we can know. So usually a simple code like x is equal to 10. Over here we are assigning x to 10. So therefore x is equal to 10. And we shouldn't always forget our semicolon when executing or putting out codes like this. Now we also have the mixed mode expressions. Now these ones too will come in handy as we proceed. These ones involve a lot put together to form a specific expression. Now these involve operands of different data types. C++ perform type promotion, which is to evaluate such expressions. Now we can have something like 5 plus 3.14. Now if you look at this expression very well, let me put it here. 5 plus 3.14. As you can see, if we are to evaluate something like this, now the integer 5 is promoted to a double, then added to 3.14, resulting a double value of 8.14. Now with these type of expressions, there will be a data type involved, and now we all know that this is going to take an integer data type, a whole number, negative or positive. Now this is a float. This is a float. So if this is a float, then how are you going to express order to what are you going to assign to it? This is where mixed expressions will come into play. So once again, as we proceed, we'll get to know how they are going to be used. Now we also have the pointer expression. The pointer expression, it involves the pointer variable and pointer related operands, like the dereferencing and the addressing and a whole lot, which we learned in our previous episode of C++ programming. Okay, so those are basically expressions used in C++. Then now speaking of statement, which is our next subtopic. Now, a statement is a complete instruction that the C++ compiler can execute. Now, most statements end with a semicolon, as we always do in C++. No matter whatever you type, at least there are some particular lines of code that, in fact, almost every line of code in C++ ends with a semicolon. Even our return statement here, everything, unless you are opening a function like this, like the main function over here, but we'll get there. So declaration statement. Now, to declare a variable, function, or other entry specifying its type and name. So we can have something like int count over here, for instance. Hold on. Okay. So there, I don't know what's happening to my ID. So we can have something like int count. Now what you can see here is a statement. You can also have something like void my function over here. Now this, as you can see, is also a sample. You can have something like double price. You can do 19.919 pesos. I mean, it's all up to how you go about it. These are all statements in C++. You have the expression statement. Now, an expression followed by a semicolon. The expression is evaluated and its result is often discarded if not used. So we have that over there. Okay, so we have something we also call compound statement, which is like a block. Now, a group of 0 or more statements enclosed in curly braces, and it acts as a single unit, often used with control flow statement. Now, we can have a sample code in a curly braces to be int temperature is equal to 0. Now, temperature plus plus. Now, there will be a time where we'll be using this a lot, so at least you can note it down for now. We also have the section statement. Now, these allow different code blocks to be executed based on a condition. Now, with this one, the if statement executes a block of code if the condition is true. So we can have a sample code here. The if statement, I mean, one of my favorites. So you can have a score which will be less or equal to 60. And over here, we can take it from here. You can also to the console. I mean, you passed. Yeah. Then I think, yeah. So this is a sample code. I want to know what's. I'm getting some errors here, and oh, okay. So it's good I have to, point out these errors. So, I think I know why this error is showing here. We have not declared anything called score. So, the code doesn't know where this particular one is identified as coming from here. It's as you can see, it's undefined. But we have not, defined it anywhere in our code. But once again, this is a source. I'm using this to explain to you, so we won't really need that much. So that's a sample. That's a sample selection statement, which involves the if statement. We also have the if else statement. Once you see the if else also comes into play. So if my age is greater or equal to 18, then you can print out. You can console out. I'm eligible to vote. Let me just do it. Eligible to vote. Yeah. But if else, yes. So over here you can. You can decide to bring it like, I don't know how, but just make sure that if else goes into another function, like it goes into a different block. So it shouldn't be in under these curly brackets. It has to go into the other one. So usually we do it this way, which is also accepted. So else if not, then we see out not eligible to, I hope I'm spelling the right words, then we are good to go over there. So this is a sample if and if else statement we have over here. Yeah. So with the nested if statement, it is like an if or if else statement in another if or if else statement. I mean, it's like something like a sub of something. You understand the whole thing. Yeah. Then we also have something we call the switch statement. Now the switch statement, it allows choosing one of many code blocks to execute based on the value of an expression. So we can have something like our character data type grade is equal to 5. So do that. Then now we switch grade, then case we have this over here. Then over here we'll console out excellent. I know by now you're beginning to wonder some valuable or some practical aspects of programming where you need the switch cases. As you can see, this is a sample code for grading, and if I should use this for an entire grading system, it's going to make things kind of easy for me. Yeah, we can also use functions for all this. I mean, everyone and how they interrelate or they interconnect, so we get into them in bits by bits. And I think as we progress, we start writing full programs. So to continue, we also have the iteration statement. Now these ones too are very important. They are being used a lot when you are using C++. Now these are for looping. Looping is done in C++ a lot. No matter whatever code you are writing, there is surely going to be some loops. I mean, somewhere there are surely going to be some loops somewhere. I don't know what code at all you write that will not involve that, unless it's a very small, project that you don't really, maybe you're doing for test trial or something. But loops are used a lot, and yes, so these allow a block of code to be executed repeatedly. So an example is a for loop, the while loop, the do while, not explicitly asked for, but related. Now we also have the jump statement. Now these transfer control unconditionally. So a simple loop we can have over here is for integer I equals 0, we have I less than 10, then plus plus, this is an increment over here. Then now we open our curly braces. So if I over here is equal to 5, then we will we can do it this way as well. We can break over here. Now what the break does is it will exit the loop while I is equal to 5. Yes. Now what about so from there, then we just now run to see what I will give us. You can have this here so that whatever we are seeing there will be inputted over there. So this is going to output 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are putting these spaces here so that we get the spacing for our numbers that will be outputted to the console. So sample, we'll get an output of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That kind of thing. And it will break when it hits 5. Now, as I said, C++ can take numbers starting from 0. When you're counting in C++, it starts from 0. So as you have your maximum number over here to be 5, the output is going to show this, but it's going to show 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you count the numbers here, they are equally 5. Now, for me to make things simple for you, let me just run the code so that at least we see what I'm talking about over here. So as you can see on the screen, the output of the code, as I said previously, is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the output of the code you are seeing here. Now we also have the continuous statement. So with a continuous statement, it's like kind of similar. I mean, like an opposite of the break, not really opposite, but anyway. So the continuous statement skips the rest of the current iteration of the innermost loop and proceeds to the next iteration. So so for an example, we have here, we have the int I is equal to 0. I think, sorry, I will be less than 5, and we have plus I over here. And we open this. So if I is equal to, I think one thing I find difficult doing is leaving spaces, because I barely look okay. So we will not talk much about it. Then we continue over here. Now what this does is it will skip the printing to be. So let's take it out. Okay. So then next thing, we'll output the I to the console to see what it will give us. Once again, I do this so that it brings in spacing when it is executing in the sequence that will be given to the computer. Now this will be giving us an output, and let's see what it will give us. Let's comment this. So as you can see over here, our code output is 0 1 3 5 3 4, sorry, 0 1 3 4. As you can see, we are not having 2 being displayed over here, and that's all because of the code that we inputted over here. So now let's take this off. Now in continuation, we also have the return statement. Now this terminates the execution of the function and returns control to the calling function. If the function has a non-void return type, it also returns a value. Yes. Now I think that one we'll get into it as we proceed. So a simple sample code we have here is let's say we want to make square, and then we int x over here in this, then we open that and we return x times x. Now, so what we are doing here is we want to return the square of x. Yes, and I mean it has its own way of outputting the code we have. So to continue, we also have operators in C++. Now we have basically been using it even till now. I mean, we'll brush on it just a little bit. So operators in C++, and we are going to be talking about operators and how they are going to be used. So in C++, we have the addition operator, which, I mean, why won't we have the addition operator, we have the subtraction operator, we have the multiplication operator, which this is the symbol used and not this, but rather this. Yes, then we also have the division operator. This is what is being used. I mean, in computing, that's what we use. We also have the modulus operator, which is this guy over here. Yes, now these are the operators we use in C++, and they have their own uses. So I think this is not something I should be explaining much. Yes, we also have the assignment operators. Now the assignment operators, the simple assignment we know is the equal to sign. We can also have something like this. Yes, it has its own use, and it's like it adds and assigns a number, that kind of thing. So we can have a sample of this to be a plus equal to b. Now this is basically the same as a is equal to a plus b. Now that's what this thing is literally saying. Yeah, and once again we'll be using them in our code as we proceed with this tutorial, so you get to know how they are going to be used. We also have the minus equal to, we have the times equal to. It applies for all the other operations that we have in C++. Now we also have relational operators. Now we have the equal to over here, we have the not equal to over here, you have the less than symbol, you have the greater than symbol, you have the greater than or equal to symbol like this, you have the less than or equal to, greater than and equal to as well, and so forth. So that's what we have for the relational operators. Then now, I don't know if I should put everything here. Let me type them out. Okay, so as you can see over here, these are our operators, what I just made mention of. Okay, so without wasting time, I have to type them out so that we put in some clarity over here. So these are our operators that we just spoke about. Now, moving forward, we also have logical operators, as I spoke about previously, and now this is where I explain deeper. So the logical operators we have. So with the logical operators, we combine or modify Boolean expressions. That's what we do for logical operators. If you have done digital electronics, you understand what I'm talking about. So we have the double ampersand over here, and these are the logical AND. That's the logical AND operator, and these are for both true. It's for truth if both operands are true. So if A and B are true, then therefore you are getting a true. So that's the logical AND operator. We also have the logical OR. Now this over here is true if at least one operand is true. So if A is true and B is false, you are still going to get a true value. So we also have this one. Now this is the logical NOT, as you can see over here. So what the logical NOT does is it reverses the Boolean value that we have for our expression. Now we also have the conditional operator, which is also the ternary operator. A simple shorthand is the condition. We have the condition over here, the expression if true, then the expression if false. They are all going to use as we proceed in our world or in our study of programming with C++. Now comments. Comments are something we use a lot. I mean, I've been using comments ever since I started this tutorial series, and the shortcut I use for doing this is control then the /. Now you can do this manually by typing 2 double slashes here in front of your line. Now there are two ways of commenting in C++. We have the single line commenting, which is what I've been doing here. This one has, all the lines have been single commented lines. They are not generally commented in a way that you don't have to see it on each and every line. So how do you do the general commenting of lines? So with the general line commenting, hold on, let me take this. Okay, so let's say I want to comment this entire line. I need to, let me start from here. So I need to bring in my / and I bring in my asterisk over here. Then I'll end everything as well. But this time around, I'll bring the asterisk before I bring the / and I comment. If you realize when I brought in the first one, then automatically the ending part came. So yeah, you just know how to use it. Well, comment. You can comment however you want to do it, but I just prefer doing it. Although this one is more cleaner and it doesn't show all the /, but I've kind of been used to doing it straightforward with the shortcut, so we'll take it like that. Now we also have indentation in C++. Now indentation refers to the use of white spaces at the beginning of lines to visually organize code. While not strictly required by the C++ compiler, consistent and proper indentation is vital for readability, maintainability, and collaboration. Okay, so what you are looking at right here on your screen is a sample code I got for indentation when it comes to indentation in C++. Let me close this. Yeah, so indentation, we are talking about these white lines we have over here. Sometimes if you are using very good IDEs, they can help you automatically do this without you needing to do it manually. So it all depends on how you proceed in your level of programming. So I've commented everything here. So if you want to get a clear understanding, you can go ahead and read it. But indentation is done. If you're using Visual Studio, I think code blocks can also do the same thing generally. If it can't, I'll be surprised. But generally, I think most IDs are built in with this, so you don't even need to. But I mean, it helps a lot, and also it helps in this tracing. If you realize, it helps you to trace where your opening and closing statements are being located. So as you can see, this is the main function, and the main function's return value is over here, and we are being traced to see where it's actually located. There's a lot about IDEs that help you when you are coding. That's why I always prefer Visual Studio, because it helps me in so many ways. The intelligence and everything is just top notch. But anyway, that's it for the indentation. Okay, so my people, this has been another episode of programming with C++. And in today's video, we covered the expressions and statements in C++. We proceeded to talk about operators in C++, and generally we ended with indentation and the others. So thanks for watching this video. In our next video, we are going to be taking things another level. If there's anything I mistakenly said out here, or I didn't put out well as I was giving my delivery, kindly note it in the comment section. If there's anything you don't like as well, let me know so that I can rectify it in our upcoming episodes. Thanks for watching once again, and I'll be with you in the next one. Peace out.